Good evening, everybody. Thank you for joining us for another night of Our Condition. And today we're on day 17. So thank you for coming. We are going to read the last portion of this particular speech that we've been going through the last few days. And then the next few days, we have more current speeches, excerpts of speeches from Mother that she's given in the last few months. But this was such a good speech, I wanted to make sure we included the last portion of it. I will go ahead and get started here. Okay. Here we are. So day 17. Mother says, in God's providence, the earth is first. The earth must first be settled for the spirit world to also be settled. That is why the Creator wants to establish through the perfected Adam and Eve, the perfected true parents, and through them the kingdom of heaven on earth, and live there with his children. He then desires to go and live with them in the eternal kingdom of heaven in heaven. This is Heavenly Parents' blueprint. Do you understand? Heavenly Parents' sanctum will be dedicated this year. This is the first in 6,000 years. Think of how much God has longed for this. What do you think? How long he has had to wait for this? From this perspective, you are truly blessed. You are fortunate. This is because of whom? True parents. You should not be indebted, and the young people say yes. You should pay this off, yes? The rating you receive depends on whether you repay it 10 times or 100 times over. There is no other way. Because of this, Shinchul and Shinhung are walking with you on this journey, learning to complete God's providence together. Do you understand? Yes. You are brothers and sisters together. Please love and help one another so that we can reveal a strong Chanuguk to all people. So it's actually kind of a rather simple reading. You could take it that way, but there's many reasons why I felt it was important to include these last few paragraphs of this speech, is because it's so simple. It's almost like, if Mother's talking to young people, she's not overcomplicating things. She's also not addressing maybe some of the concepts and the baggage that the elder leaders in Korea may have. And I think that's interesting to keep in mind, what Mother says to the next generation and what Mother says to the senior generation, because there's certain things that each of them are dealing with and they need to kind of understand and be responsible for. But it's almost like Mother's talking to children here. These are her, her children. These are like 20-year-olds, and there's a different tone and a different spirit here. She's still pushing them and challenging them, but she kind of lays it out very, very simply. In the beginning, she's talking about, in God's providence, the earth is first. So things have to be settled here first, she's saying. And very simply, she lays it out that God wanted to, create Adam and Eve. And so that's why we have true parents. And then through true parents, we can reveal, the blessing to the world. And it's so simple. It's something we all understand, but I'm curious why Mother says that. Why does she feel the need to bring it up again in this small group with young future leaders that she's talking to? And what I'm starting to kind of feel about Mother's education for the next generation, even younger than me, next generation, is she's teaching the Chanuguk scriptures, what really matters in the long run. She's not, right now we're dealing with a lot, right? We have to deal with a lot of still restoration type stuff. But I noticed when she talks to the 20-year-olds, and then, last condition, we read her some of her words from talking to the little children, then it's very different tone. And lately she's been kind of differentiating between Chanuguk scriptures and completed Testament age scriptures. And there's a difference there. And it's something I think we have to pray and think on, what is different about the completed Testament age and the Chanuguk age, because in Mother's mind, there's a difference. And we have to start making a change in what we're educating with, what we're talking about, to let go of some of the things that have happened in the past. And then, you know, she's making this point about the sanctum, the Chanwanggung being built after 6,000 years. Mother's been talking about that so much, right? But she's keeping it very to the point. She's saying, how long do you think God has waited for this? And whenever she asks questions like that, I try to pay attention. She asks actually here, she says, what do you think? How long he has to wait for this? You are fortunate. This is because of whom? This is a very like motherly type of teaching, right? When I teach my children, I can talk to them a lot, but it's when I ask them a question that now they have to actually say, my middle daughter, Ayla, is the queen of pretending like she's listening, but not actually listening, right? And so I'll be like, do you understand? She's like, yeah. I'm like, okay, so what did I say? You know, like that. So it's more important that they're repeating back what is meaningful and kind of like making it leave an imprint on them, right? So I just love this style of mother's leadership. And then so she's talking about Shinchul and Shinhung, which I think most of us know are her grandchildren here. This is Yeonanim and Hyojenim's children, and actually our guest reflector here today is going to share more about them. But what I want to mention here is, from my perspective, in one of our earlier speeches we read in this condition, I don't know if people picked up on it, but Mother said something like there's no more second generation, that foundation had kind of been lost. And I know when some of my peers read that, we were kind of crushed by that. Like, what does that mean? But when I, studied further and asked, different levels of people, what Mother was expressing is more of her children, that generation, many of them had been lost, and that she now has to move on from them. Not that, some of them are around and supporting, but it's different with these two sons, that she's really kind of guiding them and being very involved in their lives. And I heard an international meeting the other day with Moriko-san, who shared that now Mother has almost 30 minutes to 1 hour every day where she spends with her great-granddaughter, Yona. And as she says, Moriko used the word entropy, but she was trying to say, like, this is her energy source, that if she spends time with this baby every day, then she has this kind of give and take. And I feel like what's also happening at this time is very precious, because Mother is able to experience some of the things that she's been missing, right? That she felt like she had to sacrifice. And so she's more hands-on with these grandsons and this great-granddaughter. And it's beautiful to see, and very, very happy feeling, as Moriko was sharing. Yana just had a birthday, so they could see that celebration. So I think for the young people, their Shinhung and Shinchul are like in their 20s. So this is very special for the UPA students to have this kind of mentorship from them. And Mother's asking them to experience everything alongside these young people, not just separating them out, but to be raised and to work together and take care of each other. So I think it's really a special model from our true mother. So that's what I wanted to share tonight, but I'm actually very excited to hear from our guest reflector tonight, who answered the call, my last minute call today. And we're traveling all the way to Hawaii, and she actually just came home from church, which is a very different time zone than I'm in right now. But I would like to welcome Mimi Mitchell to share her reflections with us. Welcome, Mimi.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Yes, we just came back from church. I will go straight to the reading, actually, because what caught my attention is the second part, where Mother mentioned Shinchul and Shinhung-nim in relationship to the building of the kingdom. So I went straight into Google and searched for something about them that, would be helping us to understand where they come from. And it's really interesting how the spirit world works, because what came straight was some words from Shinchul Moon, August 5th, 2017, and the title was what is different between 20th century unificationists and us right now? So this was the 30th anniversary of Karp's march to the Berlin Wall. Well, the connection between mother educating the youth and young generation, second, third generation, and our generation. Myself and many on this call were in Berlin. We were in Berlin and we were right behind Ho Chi Minh at that time. And of course, none of these young people were born. They were in cyberspace somewhere in Heavenly Parents' dream and vision, but they were not even born. We were dreaming. We were dreaming of the kingdom of heaven. We were dreaming of even the families, you know, especially in Europe. Today, when I look at our center in Hawaii, we have a third generation young man, Sean, and this is to me, it's amazing to have a third generation young man, you know, in his 20s, and that tall, he reaches the ceiling and all this. There was none of this when we joined. So back to True Mother's vision in assisting and being ahead even of Heavenly Parents. This young man in his, actually I will read it to you, hopefully it works. Yeah, here it is. We are not different race. We live on the same earth, and as those back in the 20th century. So what is so different about us? So I decided it's probably that we are not crazy as the people of the 20th century, where the unification is. That's my generation. Yes, we were crazy. We just dropped everything and joined. I dropped my daughter and I joined. I dropped my family and I joined with nothing. I just joined. Because for some reason I felt that's what I would do if Jesus would be there. And then if Heavenly Parents are here and incarnated by true parents, I don't have to think about what to do. I was a nurse. I left my station in the hospital and I just joined. That's just what happened. Today is different. Today is very different. So he says, probably all of you had the privilege to meet true parents, true father and true mother, at least once in your lifetime. It is true, more than once. But back then, travel was more expensive and many people didn't have the privilege to meet them. Yet they would wake up, get ready for the day, and preach about somebody they had never met in their lives. That's crazy. That's so amazing. And I find this amazing. So this is true also. That's very true. It took us a while until we could see true father and true mother, but we didn't even have speeches. We had no cellular phone, nothing, but we were already preaching in the street. And yeah, interesting. So what are we? What is the state, the status quo of the current unificationist movement? So he goes there to the reality. I think that we all say we are dreaming of world peace for Chung Il-guk to be established before True Mother passes away. So here comes the reality. Yeah, we all want that, but I think that's the problem. We are only dreaming, and if you dream for 1,000 years, you will never establish anything. So he's very direct. He's 20 years old, and that's how he speaks. So he's really the son of Yoji-Nimya and the grandson of True Father also and True Mother. You have to act, but compared to those in the 20th century, we are not. I don't know. I don't feel it. I listen to stories from the 20th century, and it just seems like something so far-fetched. So I will jump a few sentences. He says, True Mother can't carry on her back any longer. She's already over 70. How much longer do we have with her? We have to establish something in the next 5 years. So I will stop right here. But the bottom line is I can see within the already third generation, True Mother's grandchildren, this inner seriousness and connection with the urgency of the time. And for us, we had something ahead of us and we had father in front of us and mother there. But today, the father is not there, mother is there, but mother is over 70. We know that. Yeah, born in 1943. She is 80. We celebrated her 80th birthday. So what does this mean for us? And one thing I noticed, and many of you, I think, noticed it, many of us should not be here today. We should be long in spirit world. For myself, I had cancer stage 4. At the hospital, they told my husband he needed to put me in, what they call this? In hospice. Stage 4 is the end. You go to hospice, we bought a plot in the cemetery, and that was it. I'm here today. I'm here today, and every day I realize God needs us, all of us, first, second, and third generation. So my reflection is, it's a reflection of a first-time responder. That's what I've been all my life, a first-time responder. And after what happened also in Hawaii recently, that kind of spirit, we need to rekindle within ourselves, within myself. Many times I feel this is it. I even sent letters to Kelly. I said, I'm bailing out. I'm bailing out. But this is not me who decides. It's not me. It's the time we live in with our true parents, with true mother. And seeing from God's point of view, it's not the time to bail out. It's really the time to be creative, to rethink and to think, outside the box, and to think with the eyes of a 20 years old. And that I find really refreshing, that we can lock shoulders with the true children, lock shoulders with the true grandchildren, and be with them and march with them, and really share our vision, share True Mother's vision, and be able to say to Mother, please rest, we got this, we have your back. So I will close with this. This is my reflection. And yes, we are really, how can I say, looking at the second and third generation with big eyes wide open, but we are not letting you down either. This is what came out of this reading, and thank you, President Kelly, for calling upon us, and thank you for all of you for being on that call today, on that prayer call. I hope Mother will get a lot of energy from that. Thank you.
Wow. Maybe I wish I could hug you after that. Yeah, it's so insightful. I mean, when she told me she found this reading, and she expressed it like, she and I are representing these two generations too, and the differences, and how do we bring them together. And it's really moving for me. When I hear her speak, I feel like so comfort and more clear and more like a resolve in my heart to keep moving forward. So thank you so much, Mimi. That was really beautiful and insightful. Yes, I see Donna giving you another round of applause. Yes, go ahead. Okay, so before we get to our prayer time, I wanted to make a brief report just on the program we had in DC yesterday, which I think was pretty exciting and big breakthrough, and I can see many ripple effects coming through, and hopefully can inspire some of you. I apologize, I don't have all the photos and the high quality video. I just had the Zoom recording, but I just want to show you a few shots so you get the spirit and maybe tell a little bit of the story before. So the first shot I have is here. This is the room. You can't see the whole room. We ended up, actually, I was very nervous that we wouldn't have enough people. And I called in some favors, and I called my former UPF team, and I said, I need your help, please come. And Dr. Jenkins and Mrs. Jenkins and Tomiko, they all came to my rescue and brought many guests. And of course, many others brought guests, which was amazing. The room was overflowing, and we had probably 80 people there. So my minimum goal was 40, and we had double. And I would say, like, at least a third of the room were not members, maybe closer to half of the room. So many people were new for the first time. This lady right here, first time, her name is Julie. She found us from our Eventbrite event that we put up on, that Katerina shared at our refresh. Some of you saw that maybe. It's just a platform you can put up your event. And we did. And she found us. She lives half a mile away from the building. And she walked in and I greeted her and we talked a bit. And I was like, oh, wow, she's fresh off the street. And I told her a little bit about who we are. And she asked me, why this Bridge of Peace? Why do you think this is important right now? And I express, at this time, I really feel women are bringing something that's so needed in this conversation about conflict and division and the need for reconciliation that only women can bring at this time. And she just started to cry. And I was like, wow, very prepared person, right? I wasn't prepared for that conversation. I'm like so stressed trying to get all the details done for this program. But it was like this reminder from God that I've prepared people and people are really hungry for this. And she's starting her own NGO. And so I connected her with my father-in-law and they had a nice chat. So yeah, just one little story there that I wanted to share. And then a few pieces of this program is we did for the first time at the Bridge of Peace, we did an interfaith prayer where we had Buddhism, Christianity, Hinduism, and Islam represented. And of course, as is true of all people of faith, it went over a little bit because they all have things to say, but it was very profound. And I felt they really understood the heart and they really wanted to be present. And it just created a holy environment that was so not just one religion. You really felt like everybody was welcome here. Like we were modeling what we were talking about, and it was really profound. And I'm grateful to Tomiko-san and Reiko-san who helped bring those people together. And then, of course, we had our national advisor give a little bit of the history and the heart behind Bridge of Peace. Whoops. And we showed a little video. And what Angelica touched on here was the different approach to Bridge of Peace with this time, where through many of the research and the conversations we had, we felt we needed to provide education before the program. So it wasn't just a ceremony, but people understood and did the work before coming to the ceremony. And then also focus on projects following the ceremony. So it's more like a midpoint. It's not even the starting point. There's something before, this is the middle, and then we want to continue it on. And you could feel, especially with this first couple that came up, I guess we should call them partners. Let me get a picture of them real quick. This sister here is a teacher at a school, and she and Kim Dadachanji, her partner here, had such deep, profound insights, particularly about being a white woman and a Black woman and the concepts and the difficulties that come up there, but really realizing through deep conversation that actually we're sisters and there's no difference. And their sharing was profound and deep and so authentic, and really you could feel the room changed because of their sharing. It was very profound. And then we also had I can't get it. So there they are. Okay. We had an interfaith crossing here, the Muslim and Buddhist representative from the interfaith prayer, who were really just such sincere women and so happy to be a part of it. And then this one here, we had Concha, who runs our Latino chapter in Maryland, and Sonia, and they represented the Spanish Empire and the indigenous people of Central America who were treated very poorly by the Spaniards as they tried to bring Christianity, but not the true culture. And it was deep. Concha teared up as she was sharing, and you could just feel, I talked to Dr. Jenkins afterwards, and he was like, everybody who crossed the bridge really understood what the bridge was. That was his impression. That I think we can be proud, Angelica, the work we did beforehand to educate and prepare people's hearts, because it was so evident. And what was really neat after this is that Katerina led us through such a fantastic meditation that made us point out, like, who are we blocking in our hearts when we think about our ideal situation? And what do we feel about those people? And what, thinking about what's the next step I need to take in building bridges in my own personal life. And so after she led us through the meditation, here's everybody paired up with somebody from a different table, having a conversation in the spirit of Bridge of Peace. And at the end of it, we all had flowers, And we did our mini Bridge of Peace ceremony where we bowed to each other and we gave our flowers, we gave each other a hug and had a little reflection paper to take home. So it just, the room, people were sharing, you could feel it was very sincere in the sharings. And I think many of you were there, and there was something so profound there. And the other thing I want to mention is that this time I gave a speech before we did the bridge crossing that introduced Mother from this peace studies and peace building perspective, almost from an academic perspective. And I read a section from Mother's memoir that was about her heart in preparation to go meet Kim Il-sung, and drew out some, I think, very specific lessons that are missing in the peace studies field. And it was a very spiritual experience to build the content. Of course, it needs some improvements, but I felt like, this is the way we can move forward to show True Parents example very practically and apply it to the situations that we're in right now. And there's a good feedback from there, and it didn't feel too religious. It felt like just the right tone for the audience to really understand who Mother is and why she's such an important leader at this time. So it was an incredible journey, and the DMV team worked incredibly hard. The Kim Dadichanji and Daddy Chikelo, and I forgot. Sorry, one more thing is at the end we had 3 people come up and share about their peace projects that would happen after. Here's Dottie sharing about a peace project, and then Vondel sharing about her peace project. Sorry, I'm getting wrong speech spots here. And then Sonia sharing about a peace project. So it just really felt like, wow, Women's Federation DMV is so active, has so much energy, so much is happening, something to really be proud of. And we learned a lot. It was really chaotic behind the scenes and very stressful, and many things didn't go right, as is always the case. But I really felt we could be proud of this. It really felt like True Parents peace building practices here locally. And of course, Bridge of Peace has a long history, and I'm just adding a few sprinkles on top of it, right, in this time. But it's carrying on this profound legacy. And I know many communities are now excited to host a Bridge of Peace. So let's do it. I'm ready for that. Would love to share the best practices and resources that we developed through this experience. And the point is partnering in the community. Can we really make a difference in our communities? Not just have wonderful ceremonies, but can we make change in people's hearts, in their lives, in their relationships, in their communities, which is really what Mother needs from us at this time. So sorry you heard from me a lot today, and I took maybe a little bit too much time. But we are going to switch over to our prayer time. So Mimi, can I bring you back up to offer a representative prayer, and then we'll do our unison prayer?
Sure.
Okay, so please, whenever you're ready, go ahead and offer your prayer.
Okay. Okay. Let us take a deep breath. Beloved Heavenly Mother, beloved Heavenly Father, beloved Heavenly Parents and True Parents, we come to you gathered together, about 50 of us at this time, or maybe more, 51, from all states, our sisters, brothers, united with one deep longing is to connect with your essence, Heavenly Parent, with your essence and the essence of our true Mother, who's still with us here on earth, and we have the privilege to walk the walk with her. We call upon the spirit world to assist us in opening our mind, our heart, so that we can see from your point of view and not a self-centered or a narrow point of view, narrow-minded point of view. We came to this world, not especially I'm speaking for the first generation, we came to this world with a consciousness which had been basically warped because of the fall, or even in some case inexistent consciousness. Our true parents have undertaken the task to give us rebirth and to waken up our consciousness, to waken up the most precious part of ourselves who had been totally trampled down and basically burned to the crisp, just like what we saw recently in Maui in La Aina. But our true parents know who we are because they are the origin. Our heavenly parents are the origin of our creation. They know exactly what they put into our soul, into our innermost self, in what was in their heart at the origin of creation. So no matter how hard Satan has tried to destroy us and destroy the vision, our true parents have transcended this stage of darkness. They went through this alone. They went through this rejected. They went through this abused. And we have no idea about the trauma of that true father and true mother went through. This is not spoken of very rarely, or it's between the line, but we always see true parents in a glorious situation. But some of us, few of us, have seen father walking with difficulty after a speech, or have seen mother holding on to a chair, or you know, never she wants us. Even when we gave advice for mother to sit in a wheelchair, she didn't want to. She didn't want to strongly. But heavenly parents are assisting us and are giving our true mother extra time to see the completion of this cosmic vision, to see world peace in this world. So we pray together at this time to be able to participate, partake, and not dream anymore, but truly establish concrete reality and walls in a good sense, not divisive, but erecting the kingdom as True Mother just did with the Chanwangun and now the Chantim one. We have now a place, a physical place where we can go and talk directly to a heavenly parent, directly to a True Mother. So we want to show gratitude, say thank you, and really humble ourselves and start seeing from your point of view, heavenly parents, and let go of our own narrow-minded view. Jew, amen.
Jew, thank you, Mimi. We'll now do our 4-minute unison prayer. Please feel free to unmute yourselves and offer your prayer together at this time.
Heavenly Father,
Sarang Hanun Hananim, Sarangi Abonim Amonim. Our
Thank
beloved true parents.
Morning.
Parents, we are honored to have been
Understand.
to experience revival.
Lot more about
There
the
is a prayer called the 20 with our true mother.
way that she is
We
in
have now physical places where we can go.
From her point of view,
Whether it's a Chanwangung, Korea, Chantian, or the Chantim one that we have a privilege to have right here in Hawaii, here in Honolulu, and thanks to
cover
Mrs.
all that's
Nagama,
happening.
never gave up on that vision and understood right away how desperate and important it is to have that physical place and to be fully build it in our home. Within the home, not just in our heart, but make space and truly invite you, heavenly parent, within our families, in our relationship, and within our witnessing natural our friends and understand, even across the borders, across the ocean, across the continent. Who are longing to know our true mother.
Thank you. People who are interested
like another situation where they are born free in their country, like in the Middle East, where we
gathering
cannot
solid.
without being afraid to be
And they
assaulted.
really want to pray
If
and
there's a true mother knows
Don't
all
be
this,
transformed
and she wants to
so
tear
no
down this,
forgiveness.
That's what I
wants
want
to
to
tear
do.
down this
But I want
Yes.
to
terrible
be
barriers and
Created
open the
us
doors of those
Omnipresent.
kind of understanding
open our hearts so that we can see
and
the
Beautiful.
kingdom of heaven here on earth, like the Father
Only
wants to
Allah.
build these
like
beautiful flowers, really, so that all families, several generations can walk through this
Shower us.
garden without apprehension,
through caring
without
for each other,
being
Just
loving
afraid
each
of
other.
do our
letting the
best
children free running and jumping and
To
to
be
make sure that even if
being
we can love you.
connecting with the butterfly,
But it should be
the
an
white-showered,
uncontrolled
connecting with the
Everything.
roses and the daffodils,
Can make you happy.
bondage
connecting with
at such a young
the
age.
Give you
orchids
joy.
and anything which has been designed
Peace,
at the beginning
our body to help them.
our deliberate
And
choice
yet we know that this has been, like Pastor Frank said this morning, this has been going on since moment time.
So do our best
we may truly
Children,
reunite
even if we can love you.
we're
and
just, it's really,
overcome our
God make you
how does
happy.
this happen? How could they think the children were not
way of
valuable
Give
when
you joy.
they themselves are
creating
once
children.
children?
Sometimes they are
Give you
not,
happiness.
but we have
In all circumstances and all
way
situations.
of looking at things, especially the first generation. So we're trying to be
God
united.
walk
your
with
love,
up and down.
Generations
So now,
Strong as a love
and
shield.
let them know of their
foundation of
values.
Father,
So many of them are doubting their own values. So many of them are not
Living in another world.
identity. Heavenly parents,
To learn from
it
fathers,
encourages
but creates
period
bring peace
to
and
mother
loving to others,
beautiful
to
sound
us, no matter who we are, what we've done, what we look
heavenly
like,
mood and
with our
heavenly
behavior, with our actions, but none of that
yeah,
matters.
earth, and a new earth
Your
can be
creation,
born.
our expectation, your children, your child,
show your blessing.
each one of us.
Together with
Lord of your blessing.
This is such a deep understanding
Trying to understand.
That's a beautiful song.
of these children.
Adieu. 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 Thank you again, everybody. Every night, such beautiful and sincere prayers. I can feel like the spirit growing as we're going through this time and getting close to the end of this and preparing for the anniversary of Father Seunghwa. Yeah, I don't know yet whether or not there's an international program. I've been asking around, and even Tal's not sure yet. So if there is one, we may not have our closing program as a prayer because it will probably happen at the same time, but I will let you know as soon as I know. And tomorrow we're going to hear, along with our reading and our reflection, we're going to hear a testimony from Caroline Betancourt and her team, who have recently reactivated her local Women's Fed chapter. So I'm very excited to hear from her. And we look forward to seeing everybody tomorrow. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful evening. God bless you. Thank you.
Thank you.